Hello, everybody. It's Thursday night. We are back again doing another live chat. It's nice. I'm here with Tina Starr this time.
Hi, everybody.
It's great that we're able to do chats because we're stuck inside. At least we're able to do something, so that's nice, eh?
Yes.
So, welcome, Tina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I was trying to remember, when was it that we first met? Was it at the Get Outside Season 1 premiere, or was it before that?
Yes, it was at your premiere for Get
Okay.
Outside.
Yeah, I thought so.
Representing over here with your shirt.
Yeah.
Um, yes, we met at the premiere, and then I think we met again at the winter camping trip that I planned in
Was that? Yeah, was
January.
that the second time we met? Only then? Wow, yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
was the second time.
I want to talk about the winter camping trip and other trips that you do. But what kind of
Yeah.
outdoor activities do you generally do? What do you do, and then what's your favorite thing to do?
So backpacking is my love, my true thing that I love to do. But I mean, when I was younger, I started car camping, so I still do a lot of that. But once I discovered the backcountry and backpacking, that's pretty much what I do the most of now. Canoeing and paddling and kayaking in an inflatable kayak.
Yeah, hey, it works.
Which, I know. Yep, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're also going to answer any questions that anybody who's watching has. So feel free to ask questions. I'm monitoring the comments right now on YouTube. So yeah, feel free to ask some questions. But you were talking about the group that you created. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so the end of May will make 2 years that I started the Female Backcountry Campers Ontario group. I started it because my own friends, my own personal friends, were not like-minded people in the sense that they all love to go camping and that sort of thing. I'm kind of like the only person that likes to do that. Um, so I did a lot of research when I wanted to get into backpacking and stuff, and I kind of I didn't lose a friend, but my friend that I started doing it with was, kind of lost her interest in it or just couldn't do it because of certain issues. Um, so I found that I was trying to connect with other online Facebook camping groups, and I wanted to plan trips with people. And when I was posting ideas about trips, I was only getting men that were responding to me. Um, my husband Ome was not okay with that. I'm not okay with just traveling with like a random male stranger into the backcountry for like 3 or 4 days on end. So I felt that there was a need to create a female group. So I started the Female Backcountry Campers Ontario group, and it's grown and it's evolved, and we have 1,100 members now of just women, just over 1,100. Which is amazing and it's great. And I just, there's this kind of a stigma that goes around that women can't camp as well as men or, anything like that. And these women in my group, they're amazing. They blow my mind all the time. They're doing like solo trips and they're backcountry camping by themselves and canoe trips, and Kelly camps. Kelly, she's done like a 10-day solo trip, portaging and like all these amazing things. And these women inspire me
Nice.
to want to do this kind of stuff. So I started this group and I started connecting with people, and I've made some really, really amazing friends through my group. And I think other women have connected and planned trips, and, they've formed their own friendships as well. And yeah, it's an amazing group.
Nice.
And we're actually doing a service to men by having this group, because we talk a lot about female stuff that, men probably don't want to hear about. So this is an outlet for them to, just be open and ask questions, and people respond with their openness. So it's great. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Actually, we already have a couple of questions, so let's
Ooh.
take a look at those. What's the largest backcountry group of women you've toured with or gone out with?
I think right now it's 10, and that was the very first trip that I planned when I started the group. I invited 10, I think 10 women showed up.
That was the
It was
winter one, right?
time. It was in January. That
Nice,
was
yeah.
that was the winter trip where we saw each other again. It got down to minus 35, and we were cold tenting.
Yeah.
Marion and Haley actually came, and they had their hot tent. So I actually went in there and warmed up my feet once
Nice.
because it was so cold. But by the second night, it just got a little bit dangerous. So we ended up getting a yurt, and I think 4 or 5 of us spent the night in the yurt.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if anybody else so some people left after the first night, right? And then some of you
Some
took the
people,
yurt.
yeah, some people got there on Friday night. I didn't show up until Saturday with a
Oh,
group
okay, right.
of half of the other group. Vicky, Kathy, and Marion and Haley, I think they got there on the Friday. We came on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So those 4 were gone by Sunday, and we just stayed the extra night. But we got the yurt. Thanks to Marion. Thank God she knew the site host, and he hooked us up. There was like 1 yurt left, and we got it. So, yeah.
Well, the good thing about that trip is you guys got thrown into I guess the opposite of fire, with a really cold night for a first winter camping trip, because you've done that. You can do anything now.
I honestly cannot believe how cold it was. Like we woke up in the morning in our tent, and I tried to put my pants on, and they were frozen solid. Like it was folded, and then you tried to unfold it,
Yeah.
and it was like crunch, crunch, crunch. And you couldn't get warm to save your life. Your eyelashes had frost on them. Everything had frost. We were like running back and forth to the comfort station, which was like a 15-minute maybe, or 10-minute maybe, like out of the airfield, and just trying to like get in the bathroom, try to get under the hand warmers, and oh my God, it was bad. Because you were there.
Yeah.
In your tent style, I think, weren't you?
Yeah, I think I had my tent style tent, so I was hanging in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was super great.
I don't mind. I mean, yeah, the really cold nights kind of do suck a little bit, but I don't mind it. I'm more used to it now. But you can really tell when it's a cold morning. It just sounds cold. Like that sound of when you step on the snow, that crunch. It's like extra crunchy when it's that cold. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then you can't move your lips, and you can't blink your eyes. That's when you know that it's cold. It was really cold. I was not expecting that weekend, but
that's awesome.
Survived.
Yeah, no, that was good. And we had the big campfire, our camp that night.
That was so nice of you guys to host us.
That was
a lot of fun. We played Family Feud.
That's right. Yeah, Tim likes playing his Family Feud questions, so that's right. We did. And that year too, there was a lot of snow. It was probably like almost 2 meters of snow on the ground. Because I remember I knew you were all coming over to the campfire. Like I had to dig out a bigger ring for us to stand in.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, when we first hiked into the airfields, we were all like wearing snowshoes, and then we had to like dig our little trail through off of the trail. And I was like, okay, it's not so deep, it's not so bad. And then I took my snowshoes off, and I think I went like knee deep
easily, yeah,
into the snow. And I was like, oh my God, how am I supposed to like dig this spot out so we can like camp here? But we just kind of tramped it down with our snowshoes, and it worked out. But yeah, there was a lot of snow.
Yeah, no, that was cool. So what's your most memorable trip that you've been on?
Oh, Ben.
Memorable, not necessarily challenging, because I know you want to talk about one that was challenging, unless that is your most memorable one as well. Okay, most pleasurable, memorable.
So the paddle through hell, which was probably the most challenging, was very memorable. But I think one of my most memorable trips was my very first backpacking trip. I had researched my gear for like so long, made sure, I didn't want to have to spend extra money on stuff later down the road. So bought all my stuff, and we decided to get on this backpacking trip. So I called the reservation line because I had no idea where we were going. And the woman on the reservation line was like, we wanted to do the Highland Trail in Algonquin. So she's like, okay, well, your first stop should be here, and your second stop should be here. And, we wanted to do it over like 3 days. And she booked us from the trailhead to Head Lake first, and then from Head Lake to Provoking East.
Okay.
That was the most ambitious backpacking trip I ever could have done as like a first timer. Even to this day, I don't think I would do that in 2 nights. It took us about almost 8 hours to get from Head Lake to Provoking East on the second day, and it was challenging, but it was so self-rewarding at the end of it. I can't even describe the feeling, but we cursed a lot. Cursed a lot, and there were a lot of mosquitoes too.
Yeah.
I think we went in like, I don't know, July or August or something, but that was my most memorable because that was my first backpacking trip, and it's funny because everything from then was so much lighter than it is now, and I'm going on longer multi-day trips.
Yeah.
You just acquire so much more gear over the years, and then you feel like you need it.
Yeah.
And, and then it gets heavier and heavier. But
That's right, yeah. So now, what about the other memorable one, the less pleasurable memorable trip?
Oh, boy.
I just want to hear your take on it because I was there, so.
Okay. So the Paddle Through Hell, which you have your own YouTube video on this, I had an inflatable kayak. And I went with Carol, who has a sea kayak, I think, who, like, it literally cuts through water like butter.
Yeah.
But you guys kind of started before us at the Put In by the Bridge.
Yeah, so we were going to Norway. Like, you guys were supposed to be going to Fork Lake, which is just past Norway. We were staying on Norway. And the paddle is, we put in near the Spruce Bog Boardwalk Trail into Sunday Creek. And
yeah. Yep.
You were coming along because you wanted a nice, easy paddle to try. And we said, we're going there. It's beautiful. It's like a 45-minute paddle down to the lake. It's great.
Well, that's what you told us. Yeah,
that's what it should be.
That's what I was expecting. Well, was it you or Tim in the video? You're like, damn Beaver. Dam.
I was swearing. I think I was using the F word quite a bit at that point too.
Yeah, so
a lot of swearing on that trip.
We hit this Beaver Dam, and you guys got across. And I think that was at the point where we actually met up with you guys.
Yeah, you caught up to us at that point. Yeah.
So we got my foot got stuck in the mud trying to get over the Beaver Dam, like right up to my knees, and then my shoe got stuck. So Carol had to like dig out my sandal from the mud.
That's right. Yeah, because we had So on the opposite side of this Beaver Dam, there was plenty of water before we got to it, and then it was like no water on the other side.
I'm like, this is a breeze. It's amazing.
Yeah, but Tim and I managed to drag and push and shove our canoe down maybe 100 meters past the Beaver Dam, and that's when you guys are starting to get over. And then we hear you scream because that must have been when when you went up to your knee in the mud. I can't get out.
And that was so scary. And there was so many leeches in the water. I was like, anyways, the water levels were so low that you couldn't, for the life of you couldn't even like put your feet in to like push yourself through because you would just sink.
Yeah.
And I was completely stuck. We managed to get through because I was just kind of like a beached whale on the back of my inflatable kayak trying to like scoot across this marsh, I guess. But there were fallen trees and branches and like everything. You just like an inch of water, maybe. It was crazy. You guys took about, I think, 5 hours.
Yeah, I think 5.5 total. Yeah, and we tried portaging across a marsh, so that was horrible. Like it's that like waist deep or higher brush, and then there's holes that you can fall into, and yeah, it was just horrible.
Well, after sinking the first time, I was terrified of even trying to like move my kayak to the shore and get out because I was so scared of just falling into the mud and getting stuck. So I just like a beached whale on my kayak trying to like scoot this inflatable kayak across. And Carol did fine, actually. She was doing okay. But even if you put your paddle in, you were like your paddle was stuck like 3 feet down into the mud, and you just couldn't push yourself. So by the end of that weekend, I think every single muscle in my body was so sore. Muscles that I didn't even know existed. It was awful. And we came back a day before you guys did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Terrified of how you guys were going to get out because on the way out was actually worse than going in.
We actually did better on the way out.
Built the dam.
Even higher, yeah. Yeah, we had a better time getting out just because we had figured out a better way of doing it. So once we got to the point where we couldn't go any further, instead of taking the canoe out and portaging, we tied a rope to two ropes, one on to the bow, and then we each of us one on either side of the river, dragging it up. And it only took us, I think, 3.5 hours to get out instead. So it wasn't quite as bad.
Brutal. Yeah, well, you guys found a way, which was good.
Yeah.
I think I was more mad at the fact that they didn't tell us that.
I know, that was...
They were still letting people go through there.
Not after that weekend.
Up on our site at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The lights were flashing. I think I texted
you did,
at
yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, Ben, if these people come over to your site, I don't know what to do. But they paddled through that creek.
That's crazy.
In the dark. And I think by the time we got to Fork Lake the next day, they were on the island across from us.
Right.
And I think they said it took them like 4 hours or something.
Easily,
to get through.
yeah. What was I going to get? Oh, yeah. So after we got out, they were closing that off. They weren't allowing people to go in there. And I had a friend of mine who does some camping. I got a message from his brother, who I've never actually met, but I suddenly got a message from his brother saying, do you know anywhere that's good to camp in Algonquin? Because we were going to stay on this lake, Norway Lake, and the park called us to say that you can't get to it. And I said, oh, that's because we were just there, and you can't get to it. So, so that was cool. Yeah. Another question here. Kelly Camps.
Hi, Kelly.
Do you have any gear regrets?
Yes, I do. I went, it wasn't really winter camping. I think we went in like Easter long weekend or something, and my back was so sore. It was front country camping, like car camping.
Oh, okay.
And this was also around the time that I was just starting to research backpacking stuff. So I bought the X-Ped down-filled sleeping pad. I think it was like just over $300. I bought it at the Portage store. And I'm like, my back is never going to get cold again when I'm sleeping in a tent. So I bought this thing, and then I was like, it's so heavy to backpack with. And I'm like, this is not useful to me anymore. And, anyways, that's probably my only regret, because now I have this like $300 down-filled pad that I don't really need because all my trips are basically backcountry camping. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Cool.
I mean, everybody buys kind of like stupid novelty stuff.
Yeah.
They come in handy every now and again, but I mean, and those are the things that you feel like you need to take with you.
So what would you take if you had to be completely minimal and just take just the bare necessities?
Well, I'm definitely not living without my Jetboil.
I love the Jetboil now that I have one. Oh, it's great.
That's also another one of my very first purchases that I made.
Oh, hey, Aaron's watching now. Hey, Aaron, how you doing?
Oh, hi, Aaron. Hi. My Jetboil, I love it. It's great for everything. Plus, I don't bring any fresh food into the backcountry other than maybe like some sausage and cheese that I vacuum seal.
Yeah.
Everything is dehydrated. I follow the backpacking chef on Facebook, and I follow his like 31-day meal preps. So I make like a ton of food ahead of time at the beginning of the year, and I have like pretty much an entire year's worth of tripping dehydrated food. So my Jetboil, I would never get rid of that. Was that the question?
It was just sort of the bare minimum of stuff that you would take. So obviously your stove, yeah.
My sleeping pad, my tent, my sleeping bag, my Jetboil, fire starter, and my water filter.
Yeah.
That's literally pretty much all that I need, and my thermos to like rehydrate my food, and that's it. I mean, other than your essentials like your clothes and brush and stuff, but
that's cool. Yeah, because it's one of the things that it's always a good idea to have a checklist when you're packing, but things that are a good idea you don't always do. So there's many times you get out there and you go, oh, I forgot this. But always in my mind I have a mental checklist. I've got my tent. Yes. I've got my sleeping bag. Yes. I've got my sleeping pad. Okay, I'm at least not going to die. I'm good.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny because I've actually never made a checklist.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not like a checklist person. Even when I go grocery shopping, I don't know.
Oh, I never
but
do grocery shopping.
I keep, I keep all of my essential camping stuff into like a little bin, and it goes into a cabinet. So all my backpacking stuff that are essentials, it's all there. So I just kind of visually look through everything, and then like I go through the levels because I know my sleeping bag was at the bottom.
Yeah.
Then my fair, and then all this stuff. So I've never made a checklist,
Nice.
which is weird. I probably should.
I don't know if you saw when I was chatting with Tim. He makes a checklist now because he's.
Does he?
Oh, well, he's forgotten. We've forgotten paddles. No, not his tent. He forgot a sleeping bag, and it was early spring. All he had was a tarp.
Oh my God, poor Tim.
Yeah, so I remember hearing him in the night, lots of swearing, and I could hear him moving around. So I got up, lit a fire, boiled some water, gave him some hot water bottles. So yeah, he uses a checklist all the time now.
That's funny.
Got a question here from Primetime Scott. What's the best time to go backpacking, and is it expensive to get started? We can both answer that, but start with you. Best time, and is it expensive?
In terms of cost, I think it depends on how many days you're going versus, if you're just going for 1 or 2 nights, you can carry a little bit more weight.
Yeah.
But if you're going like 3 or 4 or 5 or, a couple weeks at a time, you're going to want lighter weight gear. And the lighter you go, the more expensive that gear is going to be.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, don't skimp on spending money on things that are of good quality, because they're going to last you a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And you're going to regret it later if you buy something that's, a little bit of a knockoff or cheaper or whatever, and then it fails on you, and, it's disappointing. But yeah, I mean, again, if the longer you go, the more weight you're going to have on your back, and the more it starts to kind of stress you out. By every day, your shoulders start to get more sore. Your back starts to hurt a little bit more. So the lighter you can go, the better. There are some very, very ultralight people. They're called milligrams. I'm slowly moving into that direction because my goal one day is to hike the AT, to 3
Nice.
the AT. So yeah, I mean, it's going to cost you money. Like when I first started, I would save my money for like 3 months just to buy one piece of item for my collection. And it started with my tent, which is a tarp tent, and that was from the US, so that was a little bit costly, but it only weighs about 2.6 pounds.
Oh, wow.
2.6 pounds. Yeah, so I take that.
Best time of year?
Do not go at between June and the end of July. Black flies and mosquitoes are ferocious. I can't even stress that even anymore, but it's really nice to go in the fall because it's not so hot. And when you're carrying a pack on your back and you're hiking however many kilometers you choose to do in a day, when the sun is beating on you and you're sweating and the bugs are out, you just can't get comfortable. It's terrible. So fall, I think fall is probably my best.
Yeah, I think you're right for general backpacking, and yeah. In terms of gear, you know what? It doesn't have to be expensive. You can borrow gear if it's your first time going. You're probably not going to go on your own anyway, so you're probably going to go with somebody else, maybe hopefully that's done it before. So borrow some gear. And then if you want to get light gear, yeah, you will find that it is worth it. Like, it's interesting how the lighter things are, the more expensive they are. Like, I bought a tarp, my favorite tarp right now, packs, I don't know, about this big, and it's not that heavy, but it cost me, I think, close to $200. Like, it was an expensive tarp.
Wow.
Or maybe it's a little bit less. But anyway, I could have got one that was a lot smaller. I mean, it was the same size tarp, but it was like packed like really small, and it was like way lighter. But then it like doubles the price.
Yeah.
But I'm happy I bought. What the heck are they called? Not Equinox. What are those chairs? The really lightweight chairs. What's the Helinox. Yeah. So last August I went. I think I've mentioned this in every single live chat I've done with somebody, because it's my absolute favorite place to go. I went up to Puckasaw National Park and did backpacking. Have you done that?
No, I haven't been to that
Oh,
one,
you
but
gotta go.
on my list.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I wanted to take a chair, and that's like super lightweight. And but they're pricey. So I mean, yeah, if you're getting the really lightweight specialty stuff, it's going to be pricey. But you can do it. You can do it for a lot less if you have to. And yeah, fall is a good time. We talked about winter. The one thing I do like about winter camping is there are no bugs anywhere, and that's nice. But you do need more gear. You're not really backpacking. You're dragging a sled full of gear in that case.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you're going into like the backcountry or something with your winter camping stuff, you're going to need like a sled of some sort to carry all your stuff. When we did that trip into the airfield, I had everything in my backpack. A couple of the women brought sleds, so we kind of shared dropping like a few items in there, but you need all your stuff. Like you need your wool blankets. You need
a lot more stuff, yeah. Oh, Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly just says I have to take you all there, meaning Pakisai, I assume. So, okay. This August, as long as we're allowed out. I want to go up there again. It's a 14-hour drive, but it's well worth it. 14 hours. You got to spend at least 5 days, 6 days in there.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the thing about backpacking if you've never done it. It's funny. Every day your pack gets lighter because you're eating food. The problem is you're more tired and sore, so I don't think you really notice it getting lighter.
Yeah, no, but also if you're bringing like dehydrated food with you.
Oh, true. Yours will be really light.
Dehydrated food literally weighs next to nothing. So by the time you've reduced your food, you're really not taking that much weight off your back. But yeah, it's I don't know. It starts to like weigh on your shoulders, and
yeah.
If you have a really good pack though, you don't feel the weight on your back. Like you kind of feel it on your hips a little bit more.
Yeah.
You have to distribute your weight evenly within your pack. So
yeah, and it's a great feeling when you get to camp and you take it off. You're like floating. It's amazing.
I think the best feeling is taking off your boots and your socks and dipping your feet into the lake and the water and sitting on a chair and not on a rock or like wood or something. Oh my god, it's the best feeling. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Let's see, what else should we chat about? Anybody have any more questions? We've been going for a half an hour, so we'll keep going for a little longer if you guys have questions. So feel free to ask. There's somebody did ask something. What were they asking? There was something about where you're. Oh, any trips planned? Do you have any trips planned outside of Ontario? It's tricky right now planning stuff.
I don't have any trips planned, but my goal within the next 5 years, so before I turn 50, I would love to through hike the AT. I think I mentioned that in the beginning, but that's a lot of planning. I think you have to join lotteries and stuff to be able to get spots. But yeah,
wow.
Or is that the PCT? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting confused. But the AT is just under 2,200 miles, and I think it goes from Maine to Georgia, and it's pretty challenging. And I think by the time I turn 50, I want to be able to say that I've accomplished that. But taking 5 or 6 months off of work might not be an option right now. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. That's one of my goals. That's my plan. But that's probably the only thing that's outside of Ontario.
Nice.
The West Coast Trail is in my head. The Great Trail is in my head. There's a lot of trails. I need to find people to do this with because I can't do solo tripping for 2 reasons. One, I'm extremely clumsy and I'm terrible with directions and I get lost very, very easily. So I will not solo trip ever.
Nice. You were telling me you just bought yourself something. What'd you get?
Well, Erin McDonald from Wild and Found, she has a stand-up paddleboard, and I had been interested in them for like years and years and years, but I couldn't justify buying one because I live in the city and I live in a condo and I had nobody to go with. And I mean, you can't take them backcountry camping with you. I mean, not backpacking. Sorry.
Okay, backpacking. Yeah, backcountry you can because Erin's doing it. Yeah.
You can paddle and put in, but which is what I think she plans to do and what I plan to do. But now that I have there's Erin who's got hers, so I'm hoping to plan some adventures with her and get out on there. So a stand-up paddleboard, did I mention that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I ordered one of those and I got it, and that's kind of the only thing that's keeping me inspired to.
Have you tried it yet? Have you used it yet? I actually haven't used the one you just bought, but have you been on one before?
No, I haven't used it yet. And before I plan any backcountry trip, I think I should probably try to get out on the water with it first. But
yeah, but have you gone on one before?
I had attempted to get on one.
Okay.
It was just somebody who was in the park probably 5 or 6 years ago had one, and they're like, oh yeah, go ahead, try it. And I was like, and I couldn't quite get up, but whatever. It's
because
I've always wanted to do it, so now I have one, which is great.
That's cool. Because in season 2 of Get Outside, which is on right now, so if you have Bell 5, Channel 1, look for Get Outside. I did an episode with Erin where we went stand-up paddleboarding, and it was my first time. I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
And
was it hard?
It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I got up, no problem, but my knees were just as soon as I got up, they were shaking like jello, and I have to get back down. Half the day it was like that. I could get up for a few seconds and I had to be down. By the end, I was okay, but watching the footage, I felt better by the end. I felt like I was doing okay, but when I watched the footage, I'm super stiff still. It's terrible. And oh my God, you use muscle like you're saying when you're after that trip. My legs were killing me for the 2 days after that. I could barely walk. It was crazy. But it was fun. I would try it again. But I think I'll stick to the canoe. That's probably what I'll do. Got a question. Net Carrera. How did I mess up your name? Are bears an issue when backpacking? Have you ever come across bears? Have you had any trouble with bears?
I have not. I've never come across, oh my God, fingers crossed and knock on some wood, but I have never come across a bear when backpacking, thankfully. To be honest, and unless the bear is a predatory bear, they're not going to really do anything to you. Obviously, that fear is still very real, and it's always there in the back of your head. And if you see one, your instinct and reaction is going to be to either stay very still or run away.
So I've seen them twice when I've been out. Once from the canoe. It was walking along the shore, and we were downwind of it, so it didn't smell us or hear us. So we had to watch it walk right over the creek that we had to actually go down. But the second time I saw one, I was actually hiking and came across one, surprised it. It was maybe 30 meters away, but as soon as it heard me coming, it just shot off like a cannonball through the forest. It did what it's going to do, run away. So that gave me a lot of confidence. I'm not really worried about them that much. You still got to hang your food and keep your camp clean. You don't want, never mind bears, you don't want other animals coming in and eating your food and stuff like that. But generally, they're not a problem at all.
I think raccoons are more of a nuisance in the backcountry.
And
squirrels and that.
I've lost more food to squirrels and mice in the backcountry than I don't think a bear has ever come into the camp. We've had foxes come through and martins come through. I've lost a slice of pizza to a martin in the winter once.
Wintertime, they're adorable.
They are, yeah. A couple other questions here. We kind of talked about this. Kathy was asking, do you have any trips planned this year? So any other trips that you've actually planned this year?
Yeah, so I have a May 2 for a weekend plan, which probably isn't going to work out. I have a backcountry backpacking trip planned from June 18th to the 22nd. I'm hoping that still stays. And I haven't, since all this started, I haven't really gone on to book any more trips just because I don't want to go through the headache of trying to, it getting canceled or getting my money back, or I can't really plan anything through my group right now.
Yeah.
Because of that reason. So I'm just waiting to see how this all goes. It's going to be a feeding frenzy out there.
Oh God, as soon as it's open. Which is weird. In a way, it's weird because it's closed. The parks are all closed right now, but not too many people camp in April. And so it's weird. It's feeling like we're locked up and can't get out.
Yeah.
But the problem is early May is perfect. End of May, then you're into June, then you're into black flies and mosquitoes. So, yeah, we got that short little window to get out, which hopefully we're able to. What's your favorite luxury item you like to bring backpacking?
Luxury. I don't have any luxuries when I'm. Oh, my chair.
Oh, your chair. Yeah, I guess a chair counts as luxury. Yeah.
Yeah, I have my. I also have a Hill and
Yep.
Ox. I have a ground chair and the 01, or the ground 0 and the 1.
I can't remember which mine is. It might be the one. It's pretty low, black. Well, I guess they come in different
Super
colors.
light, super light,
Yeah.
and it packs down pretty compact. I have two, only just because. Again, I had nobody to trip with, so I'm like, if I'm going to take a friend or
Give them
somebody
a
that
chair.
I need, and if they have no gear, then I need to have this for them. So my chair is definitely the only luxury that I think that I have.
Nice.
But yeah,
Any injuries while backpacking?
thankfully, no. Considering how clumsy I am, which is why I don't solo trip. But that very first backpacking trip that I was telling you about, my girlfriend that I went with, she had just tripped over like just a stick. She smashed up her knee pretty good, and she messed up like her middle finger.
Oh, wow.
I think it still hasn't set properly. Like, it's still crooked.
Oh, did she break it or dislocate it?
To this day, I'm not even 100% sure if she did. I think that she did, but not dislocated, but I think she did fractured it or something, but it's still kind of wonky, and she had a big giant bruise on her knee. But when you're out there, it's funny because you don't see anybody.
Yeah.
Everything is so quiet. You don't see, there's nobody on the lake. You don't ever see rangers or anybody around. And we had gone the entire trip without seeing a single soul, and then this happens to her, and not even 5 minutes after this happens, a woman and her son are hiking past us. And I was like, this couldn't have been better timing, because if I had to go get help to get you out of here, it worked out great. But I mean, thankfully she was okay and she was able to walk, but that's the only injury that I could think of. Thankfully nothing to me. Again,
I haven't really injured myself. I mean, my very first trip, I was sick. It's not really an injury. I did fall over in a muddy spot and scrape my arm on a tree, but that's so minor. Although one of my early backpacking trips was with my ex-wife. This is not the reason she's my ex-wife, but we had a rainy, our last day was pouring rain, and little creeks that you could easily step over. They were like a foot deep, and you had to walk through them. But she slipped down a hill and caught her pinky finger under a root, and it was pointing out sideways.
Oh my God.
So we had to hike about another hour out and then drive into the hospital in Huntsville. And of course, we're soaking wet. We stink, and you're just sitting there waiting. So,
oh my God, so scary.
It can happen. Have you taken any first aid courses?
I recently took my wilderness first aid course. And I did that in February.
Oh, nice.
So of course I'm like, yes, I'm certified. I can lead women into the backcountry. I feel confident because I guess your certification lasts for like 3 years,
yep.
But all this happened and I haven't been able to take anyone.
Yeah, I took mine last June, and it was fun. It's good.
It's actually really, it's really good to have.
Yeah.
And it's really informative. I think some of the most interesting parts of that course is that they teach you how to use what you already have to make certain things, like a stretcher out of, your trekking poles and maybe a tarp, how to use like your sleeping pad to use as like an air cast around someone's leg if they break a leg or something like that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's really worthwhile. I mean, if you're going to be doing this a lot, I definitely recommend it. There's a lot of people that do the courses, and it's really, really good. The ironic thing, when I took mine, I got a bug bite on the back of my knee.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know if it was a mosquito or if it was a spider. It was like 2 little bites or 3 little bites in a row. It was fine. It was just itched a little bit, but it got irritated a bit. And then that next week, by the Friday, it was almost my entire leg was red, like a good, about this far around, all red, and it looked horrible. It hurt, and I ended up with like 2 nights in a row. I had like fevers and chills. So obviously, it was infected, And then I went to the hospital and I was on an IV antibiotics for a week. I think it was a week or two. After taking a wilderness first aid course.
Did you learn anything from the course to help you fix your life?
No, I couldn't have fixed it. It was an infection. It was okay. That was the kind of thing.
You're like, okay,
but that is the kind of thing you watch for. So it was getting a little red, so I drew a circle around it, and then you could see, it got a little bit more red outside the circle. Okay, that means the infection's spreading. So if you were out in the backcountry, that's a situation you'd be saying, okay, we got to start heading out because you need some antibiotics
for that. Get an evac.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it wouldn't have been that urgent, but that's a good course to have. That's for sure. Anything else you want to chat about before we're done? We're pretty much going to wrap up in a second.
I do want to announce one thing.
Yep.
I had mentioned to the women in my group that I would be talking about an initiative that I was planning to start before all this, shutdown happened. But one of the new initiatives, so my friend Sue Mitchell, I met her through my group. We started this new initiative. It's called the Wanderlust Project. And basically, I created a logo. The logo is going to go on t-shirts. I'm going to make t-shirts. When these t-shirts are made, all the profits from the sales of the t-shirts are going to go towards this project. And essentially what we're going to do is provide women who live below the poverty line with gift cards to Ontario parks.
Oh, cool.
Ranging between $50 and $100. And also park bus tickets so that if they don't have vehicles, they can get themselves out into nature. So they'll be able to use these gift cards to go online and make reservations in the backcountry or front country camping, whichever. And we're going to help women get out into nature. I mean, it's all part of our mental health. And also part of the Wanderlust Project we're going to have gear donations as well, so other women can donate whatever camping gear that they have to women who are at risk and live below the poverty line. So Sue Mitchell and I are the ones who are putting that together. Unfortunately, this whole thing has put a stop on the production of the t-shirts, but once we get those going, we'll be selling them, and all the profits will be going towards that initiative. So I'm really, really, really excited about
Nice. Yeah, make sure you let everybody know, because I'll buy a shirt for sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you get some guys' shirts, because obviously you want,
Yeah, I mean, the logo's a little bit gender specific.
I know, but we can still wear it. Or make a separate bunch with supported by or whatever. I don't know. Because that might work. I mean,
I'm open to anything as long as people spend their money and help women get out there.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's been great to actually chat again. And
thanks for having me, Ben.
Yeah, and
chat with you again.
I really hope we get to get out again soon. And Pakasaw, yeah, Kelly, we'll do that. If you want to arrange a trip to Pakasaw, a bunch of women want to come up, I definitely want to go again, so I'd love to go up there.
And we have to get Kelly into backpacking, because she's not a backpacker.
Well, Kelly said that we should go as a group, so that means you got to come, Kelly.
Oh.
Well, I guess you can paddle up there, but you're on Lake Superior, so you could be windbound for a week.
No paddling, Kelly. We're backpacking.
It's worth it. That's what I did last August, and I'm normally a canoeer, and it changes you. That place is amazing. It's totally worth it. Yeah.
I would love to check it out. So maybe this year or next year.
Awesome.
Soon, hopefully.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you again. And to everyone else, I'm going to be doing another one of these next Thursday for sure. Possibly Sunday as well. I'm trying to do them on Sundays and Thursdays. For sure, next Thursday, actually, I'm going to be talking with Chris and Julia Prouse. So that'll be fun. They do some amazing video work. So, and I'm sure a lot of you follow them too. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Quick shout out to my dad.
Oh, yeah.
Watching probably from his laptop.
Nice. Hello, Kelly.
And my family.
Hello, Tina's dad. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
thanks for having me, Ben.
Yeah, and we'll talk to all of you guys watching later. Thanks so much. Okay. Bye.
Take care. Bye, everybody.